Okay, so, yeah. I'm apparently a liar. Or at least very much a procrastinator. For those of you who happen to have watched the last video I made, I said that it would probably take me like, what was it, a week to finish up the next video? And, as you can clearly see, if you were to look back, yeah, it's been like 3 months as of recording the audio for this. So the main part of this video, like I believe I said in the post, was that this video is going to be about me redrawing two characters from my past. These drawings were from 2023. Okay, to explain the storyline, I need to give a bit of context. So, this whole character design, specifically for the blue haired girl, was based off of that famous Dove Cameron song. I feel like a lot of people know it. Boyfriend. That one. This one was very much inspired by that song. Um, the whole premise of the story for this character was new transfer student, the blue haired girl, comes into red haired girl's school. Really popular, really pretty, that type of girl. Red haired girl has a boyfriend. Boyfriend ends up cheating on the red haired girl. Red haired girl ends up in a relationship with a blue haired girl who's basically like, I could treat you better than him, and they end up rubbing it in the other dude's face. That's basically the synopsis of this whole storyline. Very much, I don't know exactly what word I'm trying to look for right now, but it's definitely not the most, it's definitely an overused story plotline. The basic premise of it, I feel like, is a pretty basic storyline that, I've seen it before in other storylines. However, the only thing that differentiates them is how well the author, writer does or tells the story. And in this one, I don't feel like this storyline was the most interesting from what I can remember. It's pretty straightforward. So, with all that out of the way, and me getting a little tired of talking, let's move on to the redesign itself. I made it a while ago, as of recording this, but this is the first time I'm actually going back. FYI, I might end up changing things of these characters in the future, but this is the basic concept of the characters reimagining that I did. I'm honestly really proud of it, even to this day, and I feel like the story plotline makes a little bit more sense and is a bit more interesting. So without further ado, let's move on ahead. Okay, for starters, I ended up focusing on the blue-haired girl first. I picked out the colors initially based off of the drawing, but I also ended up going a different route. Again, this is not a redesign, this is more of a reimagination of a new story that I'm thinking of, and not necessarily of the original source material. I am using it as reference though. I kept the blue color scheme for her and decided on a different sort of outfit. For the drawing, I imagined having her be more of an art student, because for the plotline that I'm thinking of for the story, without going too far ahead of myself into it, I imagine that she is a freshman in college for her art degree or some sort of arts degree. So I decided to give her a bit more of a loose fitting, but also still stylized outfit and pose. I wanted her to show some sort of air of confidence while also showing her to not be super rambunctious. I feel like she's the type of... She likes to have fun. She's pretty laid back, but she also knows when to get serious. For her design, I decided to give her a bit more of a stylized hair style. I hope that worded that right. I also gave her a bow in the back, and I imagine having her wear a clip with maybe a bow that would like, clip her hair back up. Then I decided to give her some other little details. She has bracelets, she has some gold hoops. I wanted to give her a bit more of an interesting outfit because the one she had originally was pretty flat, pretty basic, and it was kind of just a black crop top and leggings. For this one, I decided to give her a black skirt and her shoes, since she didn't have any lack thereof. I gave her some nicely fitted shoes, and I imagine that she wears them to give her like an extra inch of height. And I gave her a tattoo as well. I feel like she's an art student. Art students tend to have a tendency of being a bit more accessorized. There's a bit of a stereotype there of art students having a bit more piercings, tattoos, colored hair. I don't exactly want to fit her into a specific stereotype, but I also do feel like it's kind of true in a sense. I feel like I kind of sometimes fit in that stereotype too. Not with tattoos, but I do like piercings, and I have colored my hair before. As for who she is as a person, I imagine that she would be working for her Associate of Arts in Fine Arts degree towards her Arts and Studio Arts degree at a community college. She would probably be about 1 year into the semester. She would probably prefer to wear loose fitting clothes like a t-shirt, leggings, etc. I feel like her favorite color would obviously be blue. I kind of think she'd like a navy blue, sort of. She'd probably be the type of person who likes pop rock and is probably gonna be a fan of Dove Cameron and Billie Eilish, stuff like that. I also feel like she'd be the type of person who enjoys drawing characters from Greek gods, literature, maybe something like that. Maybe she likes drawing specific types of gods and goddesses, maybe even Roman stuff. I feel like that'd be something she'd like. Maybe she'd take a little bit of interest into the different artists during that time, maybe something like that. And I feel like she'd also be the type to be a messy, clean sort of person, someone who can be a little bit messy, but sets it up in a way that it could look decently neat. I feel like she'd be the type of person who would be just out of sorts if she did not have a specific day that she needed to get something done, because if she didn't have a date that she needed something done, she'd probably be the type of person who doesn't care too much about putting some effort into it. I'm still smoothing out the edges a little bit, so if it sounds like I'm rambling, then that's probably because I am, and I'm sorry. Alright, now we move on to the red-haired girl. For her design, I kept a lot of it relatively similar to the reference. However, I changed up her personality. Obviously, I made her not look like a middle schooler. In fact, for both of the characters, I ended up aging them up from 16 and imagined these characters as being 21. Another thing, I decided for her design that I wanted to show a bit more personality. I wanted to do that for both of the characters, and for her, I decided that she's a bit more of a shy sort of person. She would probably be a bit more closed body language, so maybe like hugging herself, maybe having her not looking straight ahead, maybe having her look to the side. For her hair, I ended up keeping it pretty long, but I decided to have some of the front hair tied off in the back. I also ended up giving her some more loose fitting baggy clothes. She's probably someone who prefers having a comfy sort of outfit to wear. And I also think that she'd probably wear her student lanyard around. I know that for a lot of freshman year college students, they tend to wear their lanyards around their neck a little bit more, but further into the years, you stop wearing it out on your front. I believe that for her, she'd probably do that because she is a freshman. The blue haired girl, on the other hand, might just put it on her side. I know I didn't do it in this drawing, but this was made a little while back, so I was still figuring things out. I added a bisexual pin on there because, she'd be a bisexual. I also thought about adding a pin for their school. I haven't fully figured out what I want the school's logo to be, so it's kind of just a random pin that I threw on there. And everything else about her design was not very noteworthy. I feel like I'm pretty proud of her design. I probably would change a thing or two. Same thing with the blue-haired girl, but that's for another time. If I do continue to work on these characters, which if you want me to, I will. As for who she is as a person, I believe just like the blue-haired girl, she'd be in the Associate of Arts and Fine Arts department, but she'd be working towards a liberal arts degree. And a conflict that she experiences would probably be that she doesn't know whether or not she wants to continue into a bachelor's degree or not. So, like a bachelor's in English writing, and is very not confident in her skills. She's also a freshman at the college. She likes the color red, like the blue haired girl. Same thing. She likes blue. The red haired girl likes red. Pretty straightforward. She is someone who really likes Greek and Victorian writing. I feel like she'd love to study those a lot, and it would be her favorite subjects. She would also probably be someone who really likes writing short stories about things in her life, about maybe people in her life, maybe a specific person, for example. Won't say who. You could probably figure it out for yourself. She's a fairly organized person. She likes having things set out in front of her. She likes not having surprises. I'm kind of like that too. And I also feel like she would be someone who overthinks a little bit. And that's about as far as I went. Finally, I feel like it's good to mention that for the reference characters that I used, they did not have names. However, for these two characters, I ended up giving them names. For the blue-haired girl, I ended up naming her Dove in dedication to, her character being inspired by Dove Cameron's song. So I thought it would be fitting. And for the redhead girl, I thought about maybe the fact that she likes Greek writing and Greek characters, that I kind of just settled on the name Persephone, or Seth for short. I'm quite proud of them, and honestly, I think that this is a really good drawing that I've done. I know that there are things that I would change about it a little bit, but I'm still proud of it either way. And if I do end up working on them a little bit more, I'm definitely going to flesh out the story a little bit better and their characterization a little bit better. But that's about as much as I have done for the moment. I think the next thing that is most important is probably going to be fleshing out what I have for the story thus far. So for my idea for this storyline, Dove and Persephone would be about 1 year into their semester, while Dove is working on her art/studio arts degree at the community college. Persephone would be working on her liberal arts degree in the same college as her. Dove has been living close to the college for a while, and actually ended up going to a different college before this. She attended a college when she was about 18, like a lot of people expect people at 18 to go, but made the poor decision to go to the college that her old friend group was going to, and ended up choosing a major that did not work for her. About 1 year into that semester, she ended up failing at that college and decided at the end of it that that's not the career choice that she wanted, and ended up moving over to the community college to continue into an art/studio arts degree to truly pursue her choice of experience in college and a major that she likes. As for Persephone, she lived near the area and ended up taking a gap year after high school because she was still figuring out what she wanted to do with life. She had always loved writing ever since she was about 13 and has been writing for a couple of years. However, she never felt like her abilities were that special or unique and never even considered that she'd be able to get through college with the skill set that she had or even anything to do with English writing. However, her grandmother persisted, aka her caretaker, and told her that she should at least give it a try, or at least a year. So, Seth ends up going to the community college to try and at least do her liberal arts degree, and even still, she's questioning everything that she's doing and isn't quite sure about herself. And also at this time, her partner at the college, a dude who is doing something in a different part of the college, in a different major, our relationship with him is a bit strained. He is a lot more busy than her and doesn't have a whole lot of time to spend with her. He's a great guy and she loves him a lot, but she feels like the relationship isn't going anywhere really, and she's coming to this conclusion, just like he is, that their relationship just isn't going to work. So they end up having a breakup, but it still made Persephone feel even more confused about herself. She feels alone, she feels confused, she feels unsure about her future and what she wants, and is just trying to get through the year of passing her classes and continuing with her life. She doesn't want to disappoint her grandmother, but she also just is not quite sure what to do with herself. One day, at a park near the college campus, she ends up running into Dove and a few of her other friends. They end up slowly talking and hanging out after a while, and soon enough, after about a month or two, Persephone, she's started taking a lot more interest in her, and feels like with Dove by her side, she's becoming a bit more confident in herself. And for Dove, she feels like she's finally found someone who she can trust and who she can be open with. Dove also, during that time at the other college, had a pretty nasty breakup during that time as well, which left her feeling a little bit insecure and unsure about whether or not she'd find someone who she could actually trust again. But now, after meeting Persephone and getting to know her, she feels like she's finally found someone after a long time that she actually connects really well with and feels like she could probably be with. She's a bit iffy though, because she did recently break up with her boyfriend, Persephone, and feels awkward about asking her out because she's unsure if Persephone's moved on enough to be comfortable being with another person. And that would lead to a bit of will they, won't they. Anyways, I'm so sorry if it sounded a little messy on certain parts. I'm still working out the story, and I'm not even sure if I'm going to draft it in the future. However, if there are people out there watching this video who take a lot of interest in this story, then maybe I will work on maybe drafting a comic about it, or at the very least doing some sort of short content, maybe like YouTube shorts on the two characters, so I could satisfy your guys' interest in the two. Anyways, I am tired, and that's all I really have to say on the two characters. I worked really hard on them, and I hope that you like them just as much as I do. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. I would really like it if you liked and subscribed to my video. Also, if you could hype my video, that would be good too, because that will help boost it into the algorithm, and hopefully more people can see my videos and enjoy the content of my characters even more. I also recently just started up a Cara account. I will be posting, hopefully, a sketch of the two characters that I did over on Cara, as well as some other content that I might not post on YouTube. So if you'd like to check it out, I will link it in the description. It'll also be on the description of my YouTube page soon enough. So if you'd like to check it out, please do. Thank you again so much for watching, and I'll see y'all later. Bye bye!